Hey, welcome to the John A. McCabe Show, where it's all about accelerating your authority in your business or field of expertise. And we do that by helping entrepreneurs, business owners, authors, experts, speakers get seen, get heard, get noticed on any device, anywhere, anytime, in as little as 15 hours, also known as the Authority Acceleration Program. On today's show, Business Strategies Tuesday, my guest is someone who's the definition of consistent and persistent. And I'm sure he will never be described that way anywhere else again. And he's doing that mainly with webinars, but has started to incorporate Facebook Live into the mix. Now he's constantly closing on clients every single month in his webinars, where he continues to funnel leads and prospects. Now I met Andy 2 to 3 years ago at a number of marketing events in San Diego, where we've been spending a lot of time over the last 5 years. We've both been part of the same mastermind and coaching group for a year, and at one point it seemed like we were in San Diego 5 times in less than 2 months. Now for Andy, making that 5 to 6 hour trip from New York, plus the time difference, is a huge commitment, especially being a husband and a father of 4 children. But in business, if you aren't consistently learning and growing and using the latest strategies, you can easily get left behind, or your business can slow dramatically. Now, webinars and webcasting is just one of the strategies Andy has incorporated into his business very effectively, and it's helped accelerate his authority. Now, the former lawyer is a 2-time #1 best-selling author, and one of those books is How to Pay Wholesale for College. It helps parents of college-bound teens pay for college without going bankrupt or vaporizing their entire retirement savings along the way. Now, most of his clients are the forgotten middle-class families who mistakenly thought they couldn't qualify for financial aid. Now, his services help level the playing field between overpriced, rip-off colleges and upper-middle-class, even affluent families, including business owners, doctors, lawyers, CPAs, teachers, principals, divorced, separated families, and many others. Now, Andy delivers much of his content to these families in the form of live speaking and webinars. Now, where he successfully closes on clients each and every month. Now, Andy and his wife, Pearl, are conducting 2 to 3 webinars each month to answer questions, talk about changes to the system, and help parents get a clear understanding of what they're going to be faced with when they apply for their child to go to university. Then once a month, they funnel all the leads into a pre-recorded webinar that is set up and structured to sell their product and services to those same parents. Now, Andy and Pearl are consistently filling their lead funnel through a variety of different methods and strategies each and every week. But what remains consistent is their use of webinars to reach a wider audience across the country, their ability to educate as well as entertain the audience and deliver huge value through these webinars. So today, I'm going to get the inside scoop from Andy about how him and Pearl are effectively using webinars in their business, how they are structuring their content and delivering value, and also how they are able to close on business through pre-recorded webinars. So be sure to stick around, because when I come back, I'm going to be joined by my good friend, Andy Lockwood. Hey, and thanks for joining us today. I have a great guest today, someone who is being very successful using webinars as a main strategy for his business. It makes reaching his potential clients across the country so much easier. Plus, his potential clients get to interact with him and his wife, Pearl, during the sessions. Now, Andy Lockwood is a 2-time #1 best-selling author, an attorney turned college funding expert who uses webinars to help parents of college-bound teens pay for college without going bankrupt or vaporizing their savings along the way. So please give it up with some likes, some love, shares, a virtual flurry of thumbs up and heart icons going across the screen for my good friend and guest today, Andy Lockwood. Hey, Andy, how you doing?
Hey, great introduction. Could not have written it better myself. Thank you.
Well, I think you did write it, but
it sounded familiar.
Yeah. So, I really don't want to do any of the work. I just ask the guests to send me information, and I make them do all the work, and I just plagiarize it. So that's okay, isn't it? We're talking to a college planner. It's okay if I plagiarize things.
There's a fine line between plagiarism and just borrowing. So
okay.
Don't be afraid to cross it.
Borrowing with permission.
Exactly.
So Andy's on today. We're going to talk about using webinars in your business and how to grow your business, build your authority, get your clients to know you, like you, and trust you, compressing that sort of cycle. So it's a lot less time for them to get to know you, like you, and trust you before they actually make a buying decision. So if you can compress that into an actual webinar and do it all in an hour, hour and a half to take them through that cycle and then get them to buy at the end, that's sort of the ultimate, really compressing that time frame. So, Andy, before we get too far in the interview, I know you've played along with some of the other guests before, but we like to do our speed rounds. And I still recall you playing along last week, and all of your answers had to do with me. But hopefully,
should we just skip that part? I mean, my answer is John McCabe. Every answer.
Okay, well, we're just going to go through the formality anyway.
Okay, your show.
Just maybe you'll actually come up with something insightful other than just telling everybody how great I am, because, you know, we don't want that now.
Don't get your hopes up.
Okay. So for anyone watching out there, just play along with us if you want to. Put in your comments for the questions, and let's just see what Andy has to come up with. So quickly we'll run through these. So name the book that impacted your life the most.
So last time I said any book that you've written.
Okay.
I would say one of my favorite, probably most books written by Dan Kennedy, and even the Cialdini book, Influence or Persuasion or whatever. And he's got a new one out that I'm in the middle of. Those are both great.
Excellent. What when you were a young boy, who was your celebrity crush?
That's such an awkward question. Celebrity crush? I guess I like the Farrah Fawcett photo.
Nice. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I remember that poster.
Yeah.
Very much. So what is I think you just named it. What's the book, podcast, or show that you're into right now? You just named a book that you're into right now.
Yeah, I mean, I podcast, and I'm not like someone who listens regularly to podcasts, but I have, I really like the I Love Marketing one with Joe Polish and Dean Jackson. That's one of my favorite ones, but, you know, besides, of course, yours.
Of course. Are you currently working with any coaches?
No. Nope.
So you're just a little hiatus right now?
I just think I'm too good for any. No, yeah, just a little bit of lazy, a little bit cheap, a little bit of just busy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Smug.
What's your favorite movie of all time?
I think I would have to go with The Jerk by Steve Martin.
What? You didn't pick the movie that I was actually in?
Wasn't that about you? What do you mean?
I was in you didn't know I was in a movie with Sandra Bullock and Dennis Leary?
No, was that like an animated thing?
No, it was a real movie. It's called 2 by Sea.
No, I didn't know that. Sorry.
You didn't know it? So I guess that's why it's not your favorite movie.
It's probably number 2.
Number 2. Gotcha. So you're not working with any coaches, but I believe you'd mentioned last week that you're involved in a mastermind?
Yeah, a couple of friends of mine and some other various sort of scattered, people get together once a month, and we're all sort of marketing focused and all have belonged to other sort of masterminds or currently belong to other masterminds in the past, and so that's kind of it's a great group. It's like my favorite meeting all month.
Excellent. So name the person, either dead or alive, who you'd most like to meet and have dinner with.
Again, that would be John McCabe, but if I had to pick a second person, I would go with probably Steve Martin.
All right. Your favorite type of vacation, beach or adventure tour?
Neither. I'd say it's definitely not adventure tour. So if I had to pick one, it's beach.
Okay. So what type of vacations do you enjoy?
Family stuff where we're just sort of like renting a place and getting away. So it's can be beach-esque.
Okay. The best.
But we need other stuff to do. I mean, we can't just stay on the beach the whole time.
No, exactly.
Too hyper.
Best business advice you ever received?
I think that would be 80% of your time should be spent on marketing. That's Michael Gerber, the E-Myth.
Okay. And the last question, two-parter. Do you prefer water, beer, or wine? And is it pizza, wings, or salad?
Is there an all of the above option?
Just fill the table with everything.
Yeah, because it depends on the day. I would go for all. Literally, I would have all those all day if I weren't going to be 300 pounds.
And it depends on who's paying for the tab.
That is a big So was lobster one of the choices?
No, but I think that's on Ed's tab, isn't
it? Yeah, sure.
No, Ed keeps taking us to the Top Gun bar where they serve fine cuisine.
Yeah, I think we had lasting memories from that one.
Yeah. So Andy, just if you could just spend a few minutes just telling us sort of your origin story of how you actually transitioned from being a corporate attorney, into becoming someone helping kids get into college and helping them find the funding. So how did that sort of all transition? And basically tell us sort of your beginning starting point and the challenges you might have had up till today.
All right, I'll keep it brief because it's really kind of boring. Okay. But you did ask, so I went to law school knowing I wanted to be self-employed. I did not have any burning desire to practice law, but I did not want to get an MBA, and I figured I need some sort of training, which the jury's still out whether that really helped me. But I practiced law. I was working for a company after I left my law firm. That was a financial services company, publicly traded. We had Don Shula as our spokesperson, who's the NFL most winningest, that's a real word, coach. So that was kind of cool. But what happened right around '99 was that the market kind of fell apart, and we got sold to another company, which was great for me personally. I was making a lot more money, and then we got sold again like 8 weeks later or something ridiculous. And that second time, I knew I was not going to be long for the world, so I had I had an opportunity to kind of take some money off the table, and I started my own financial services company. And along the way, I went to a seminar to meet other lawyers in terms of like how to build their business, and it turned out to be a big sales pitch for a boot camp that this guy was offering, and he kept mentioning this book, The E-Myth, that I mentioned before. And I said, I'm not going to spend the $2,000 on the boot camp because he keeps mentioning this book. I'm going to read the book first. Read the book, realized that 80% of time needs to be spent in marketing. That's one of the core, sort of tenets. Yeah. And I said, I need to learn about marketing. So I gradually, pretty quickly found my way into the Dan Kennedy world of all those, around 2000. And I actually met a college planner from another part of the country who I ended up, licensing his system. And I bought it. It was like a high-end, sort of group coaching thing. Okay. And that's how I got in the business.
Excellent. So what year would that be?
I was about 2000, and
2000?
The rest of the story. One of the reasons it resonated with me is because I had $100,000 worth of debt between college and law school. Yeah. That was awful. And kids today have like triple that amount.
Yeah. So you've been operating your current business since 2000, so just over 15, 16 years.
We're going on 16 years. I did not do it full time initially because it took me a while to really grasp that it was a real business, and then ultimately it got to the point where I took on a partner a few years later who was he and I were in Florida together, and then we moved to New York about 7 years ago, and a year later split the company up into New York and Florida. So now it's just me and my wife.
Excellent. So can you tell us a little bit about your decision to start using webinars? How long ago was it? Was it something that you just jumped right into, or did you transition into it over a period of time?
I jumped into doing videos, not live, but videos pretty quickly. And, I spent some time noodling around with stuff like Trafficizer and, the things that Mike Koenig stuff, which is how we met. And then in terms of live, I was not in the first wave, but I think I was in the second wave of people who bought, Webinar Jam.
Okay.
And so that was, I don't know how long ago that was. It might have been 6 years ago or something like that, 5 years ago. Yeah. And I started, messing around with webinars, but not regularly. I didn't really have confidence in how I was going to operate the technology and all that. So I had a lot of false starts to doing it.
Right. So talk a little bit about some of the early challenges or mistakes that you made doing webinars, and how did you overcome them? What advice do you give somebody who's just starting out, trying to incorporate webinars in their business now?
I made so many mistakes, and some were self-inflicted. Some were technology things. I think since then, a lot of the technology has gotten better. And but there were times where I would start a webinar and no one could see me or no one could hear me or some combination of that, and we'd get all these, and it'd be really stressful because there'd be anywhere from 20 to 400 people saying, hey, I can't hear this, whatever. So that was extremely stressful, and I've broken equipment out of as opposed to trying to fix it, just out of rage.
Yeah.
But I think, the advice that I probably wouldn't have taken if I heard it was just understand that you're going to screw up and it's not that big a deal. And in fact, that can kind of build rapport with your audience if you do screw up, because they'll see that you're kind of human, and that they would do the same thing. And so the weird thing is sometimes they're sort of rooting for you on your side when that happens. But just practice, and even then something's going to go wrong.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, sort of, how did the audience take it when you either had to abruptly stop the webinar, or they just couldn't hear you and you just couldn't figure it out, so you just ended up sort of going back to the group and saying, "Hey, listen, sorry."
So it was always a good thing. I mean, there'd be like a few haters who'd be like, "This sucks," get a real computer, stuff like that, which it was annoying, but it's kind of funny, And then, but for the most part, it would just give me another reason to kind of touch, to say, "Okay, I did a video; it's recorded instead of the live one. You can watch this instead." And then, by the way, at the end, I made an offer, and you can, whatever. So it was just another way to sort of get in front of them. So it probably net worked out better.
Okay, excellent. So
I've never done it intentionally, though. Just saying.
Never done it. Yeah, no. It's bad enough when it happens unintentionally. You never want to do it intentionally. Because I've had my mishaps many times over the past few years as well when it comes to doing stuff live.